Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Yaakov back again with another round. And today I want to, okay, for this video, I think I'm going to go to Leviticus 11 because it's something that I need to show, okay, in Leviticus. And a lot of my brothers and sisters may know where I'm going to go, but this is for my newcomers to this truth. We are we are to, as Israelites, obey the voice of Yahweh, or who you will call God. We are to obey his voice and do his commandments. If he said do it, we do it. If he say don't do it, we don't do it. And if we do something he say don't do, we are punished. I.e., that's why we're in America now as captives, because our ancestors broke his commandments just like we're today breaking his commandments. But this is one of the big ones, and it's something that I need to get out before I forget it, and I don't want to forget. So let's go there now. Leviticus 11. And this is what you will call the dietary laws. And I'm going to expound on this, and I'm going to give you a story in I think Second Maccabees. And I want to read you something. But let's start off. So this is Leviticus 11 from the top. It says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying." So whenever you see the Lord spake, that is the Most High himself talking. When you see the capital, the LOD capitalized, LORD capitalized, that's the Most High talking. And the Most High's words are in the Old Testament. Because in time past, he spoke to us by the prophets. And I will show you a verse in that. Let me show you that verse. First, before I do that, Hebrews chapter 1. Let me just show you that right now. Let's start at the top. God, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets. So what it's saying is, back in the day, he spoke to our fathers, our forefathers, by the prophets. Hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son. But we're not here yet. We stand in one. So Moses was a prophet. Let's go back to it. Let's go back to Leviticus 11. And let's start the lesson for today. This is the dietary laws, foods that we can and can't eat. Okay, so let's start from the top. "And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven footed, and cheweth the cud, among the beasts shall you eat." So what is that saying? It has to have parted hoofs, and is cloven footed, and cheweth the cud. So let's figure out what cud is. Let's first type clean foods list in Bible. Let's see what they got on here. Let's see what they got. Let's see if they got some pictures. Okay, I need to show you pictures. Okay, so let's see cloven feet. Let's see what cloven footed animals are. Cloven hoofs. animals. And then let's go to images. This is cloven hoofs. So it has to have cloven feet. Not only cloven, but it has to have, let's go back over there. It has to divide the hoof. So when it says divide the hoof, this is a divided hoof. It's cloven footed and the hoof is divided. A horse has a cloven foot, but it does not divide. A horse has a foot exactly like this, but it does not divide. Let's go down. A pig has a foot like this, and it's divided. But it says, let's look at it. It has to cheweth the cud. So let's see what is cud. Okay. Ponder over, meditate. No, that's not that. Let's check the cud. No, no. What is cud? Okay, cud. Let's look at it. Cud is a portion of food that returns from a ruminant stomach to the mouth to be chewed for the second time. More precisely, it is a bolus of semi-degraded food regurgitated from the reculum of a ruminant. Cud is produced during the physical digestive process of rumination. So what is that saying? Basically, in layman's terms, when a cow eats grass or food, it has two stomachs. Is the main stomach, and there's a smaller stomach. And it regurgitates the food again and chew it again. And that's basically what it is. So any animals that whoever parted the hoof is cloven footed and cheweth the cud is what you shall eat. So deer, cows, buffalo, goats, what else is it? Beef. You got that's all I can think of at the top of my head. But to understand which you can eat, if it cheweth the cud, parted the hoof, and is cloven footed, you can eat. Let's go to 4. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat from them that cheweth the cud, or of them that divided the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof. He is unclean unto you. So a camel has it cheweth the cud, but its hoof is not divided. Okay. Then it says, as the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof. He is unclean unto you. And the hare, which is a rabbit, because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof. He is unclean unto you. And the swine, which is a pig, though he divided the hoof and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you. So pork, rabbits, camels, along with horses, they do not they were not meant for consumption. You do not eat those animals. Okay, that's not it. Let's keep going down. It says, of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcasses shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you. So all of these animals that are listed and everything else, the rats, mice, uh, rabbits, raccoons, pigs, alligators, snakes. You're not supposed to be eating none of that stuff. You're not supposed to eat none of that stuff because all of those things are unclean unto you. Let's keep going down. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. Whatsoever hath fins and scales in the water, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall you eat. Verse 10. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. An abomination. What is an abomination? Let's figure that out. Let's go here. Abomination, abomination, abomination. Okay, let's go here. That is the, let's listen to it.
Strong's H 8263. Shekets. Shekets.
Shekels. Now let's see what it means. It means detestable thing or idol, an unclean thing, an abomination, detestation. So eating an unclean food is a detestable thing. It's unclean. Okay? That's what it means. And that is why we're not supposed to touch that stuff. Now let's keep going. Those are the abominations. Okay, that they shall be even an abomination unto you. You shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses in abomination. Whatsoever hath no fins nor scales in the water shall be an abomination, detestable unto you. So, what in the waters have fins and scales? So let's look that up. Okay, which are clean fish. Let's see. You have fish like clean fish. Let's see if they list them. Okay, you got. I'm not gonna read all these, but you can pause it and read it. So some of the fish are tilapia, which I eat, salmon, grouper, flounder, bluegill, bass, barracudas, uh, cod, and see, the cod is tuna fish, stuff like that. Silverfish, anything in the waters that have fins and scales. And if it does not have fins and scales, let's list some off. Shrimp does not have fins and scales. Crawfish does not have fins and scales. Uh, Lobsters does not have fins and scales. Catfish does not have fins and scales. Sharks does not have fins and scales. Octopus does not have fins and scales. Whales does not have scales. Uh, those are the hot ones. what's that thing called? Oysters does not have fins and scales. These things, according to the Most High, whatsoever hath no fins nor scales, it has to have both. Let's go back up. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever hath fins and scales. It just can't have fins. The shark have fins but no scales. It has to have both. Whosoever hath not no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. See what 13 says? All and these are they which ye shall have an abominations among the fowls. So now we're talking about birds that shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle, the ossifrages, and the osprey, and the vulture, and the kite after its kind, every raven after its kind, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after its kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gear eagle, and the stork, and the heron after its kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. All the fowls that creep going onto all fours shall be an abomination unto you. Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all fours, which have legs above their feet, to leap without upon the earth. Uh, Even these of them you may eat: the locust after his kind, the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. But all other flying creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. And for these ye shall be unclean. Whosoever touches the carcass of them shall be unclean until the evening. And whosoever beareth aught of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. The carcasses of every beast which divideth the hoof and is not cloven footed, nor to the cud, are unclean unto you. Everyone that touches them shall be unclean. And whosoever goes upon his paws among all manner of beasts that go on all four, those are unclean unto you. Whosoever touches their carcasses should be unclean to the evening. So what it's saying is cats, dogs, lions, tigers, anything that has paws that goes on all fours is unclean unto you. You are not to eat it. Let's go. 28. And he that beareth the carcasses of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. They are so what it's saying is if you have a dog and the dog died and you picked the dog up and took it to bury it, you are to wash your clothes and you'll be unclean until the evening for the rest of the day. Okay. Okay. Now. Okay. Now I'm gonna stop reading right there. I just wanted to hit that. Now I'm gonna take you to Second Maccabees. I'm gonna take you to Second Maccabees, and this is in the Bible. The Protestant Church took 14 books out of the Bible because they didn't they it was against their religion, so they took them out. But I'll show you that later. Right now, I want to stick to the topic, and I'm going to pull up Second Maccabees. And I am going to read one chapter. Let me start at 6. Okay, okay. I need the King James version. Let me go back. Uh, Okay, Second Maccabees, chapter 6. Okay, it said, okay, let me find my spot. Okay, okay, let me see. Oh, it's chapter 8. No wonder. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking for 6. Okay, so I want to read. Let's see. Should I start at the top? Okay, just to get the context, I'm gonna read from the top, and I'm going somewhere with this, and I just want you to see something. Not long, start at the top. Not long after this is Second Maccabees chapter 6, starting from the top. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from their laws, from the laws of their fathers, and not live after the laws of God. So what it's saying is, uh, the king sent the old man of Athens to compel the Jews to not keep the laws that are in Deuteronomy and Leviticus. They're in the Torah. And they was trying to compel them to not live after the laws of God, after the laws of the Most High, forsake His laws. And we're honing in on the Leviticus 11, the dietary laws, the foods that we can and can't eat. And I want to show you how important this is. I'm walking you down somewhere. You know, I'm doing a lot of reading, but I'm trying to walk you down somewhere. Okay, so let's start over. Now, not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius, and that in Gerizim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire and dwelt in the place. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people. The people are the Jews. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, nations, who dallied with harlots, who messed around with harlots in the temple, and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places. And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful, i.e., unclean animals. So what four is saying is the Gentiles were bringing in, for lack of better terms, prostitutes, and were messing and were doing sexual acts in the holy places. Okay, let's go down to 5. The altar also was filled with profane things which the law forbiddeth. We're talking about the law of Moses, the law of God, as we just saw uh, in verse 1. The laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God. Verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself to be a Jew. So as an Israelite, if I can't say that I'm a Jew, what am I going to call myself? You're going to call yourself after the nation that you're in. Okay, let's see. Verse 7. And in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the fast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighboring cities of the heathens by the suggestions of Ptolemais against the Jews that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifice. So, if you don't understand what's going on, the Israelites were in captivity with this nation. These are, I do believe, these are the Greeks, and they were forcing the Israelites to be like them, to observe their holy day or holidays, and to eat the foods that they eat and not keep their laws. Okay, let's keep going. And whosoever would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery. So if you didn't become as the nation, the Greeks, you were to be put to death. They were going to kill you. The Israelites, the Jews. There was nobody else. The Jews. For there were two women brought who had circumcised their children, whom when they had openly led round about the city, the babes handling at their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall. They bashed their heads against the wall. This is what they were doing to the Israelites because they did not keep the laws of the Most High as a nation. Some of them did, some of them didn't. Let's keep going. And others that had run together into caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly, being discovered by Philip, were all burnt together because they made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day. So these people feared the Most High more than they feared being put to death. All they had to do was live like the Gentiles, and they could have lived. But they feared the wrath of the Most High more than they feared the king of the Greeks. They went behind their backs to try to keep their most sacred day, as the text say, and they were burnt alive for it. Verse 12. Now I beseech those that read this book that they be not discouraged from the Calamites, but that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for a chastening of our nation. So it's saying that don't be discouraged. Look at those punishments as what will happen to you if you don't fall in line and do what we say. Okay, let's keep going. For it is a token of his great goodness when wicked doers are not suffering any long time, but forthwith punished. Okay, for not as with other nations, with the Lord patiently forbear to punish till they be come to the fullness of their sins, so dealeth he with us. Let's see, is there anything else I want out of this? Okay, lest that being lest that being come out of the height of sin afterwards he should take vengeance on us. So these are the Israelites saying that they believe the Most High forsaken them because he letting them go through so much terrible stuff. But let this that we are as spoken be for a warning unto us. And now I skipped the verse 16. And therefore he never withdrew his mercy from us, although he punished us with adversary, yet doeth he never forsake his people. So what it's saying is, even though we're going through this stuff, then and now, the Most High hasn't forsaken us. We are still the apple of his eye. He is just chastening us with these other nations. But when our captivity is turned, what has happened to us will be the just God that we serve is going to turn this captivity, and everything that happened to us is going to happen to these people by us. Okay, and it says, but let this that we at spoken be. Okay, let me use a mouse. But let this that we at spoken be for a warning unto us, that now will we come to the declaring of the matter in a few words. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of a well favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. But he, choosing rather to die, okay, gloriously. So what is this saying? All he had to do was eat a piece of bacon, eat a piece of pork chop, and he could have lived. That's all he had to do. These people, these Israelites, would rather die than to eat a piece of bacon because the Most High forbade it. He told us not to eat it. And if you disobey the Most High, I'm going to show you after I'm done with this what's going to happen. What the Most High said is what's going to happen at the second coming of the Hamashiach. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to get there, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's start back at 18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of a well favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth, to eat swine's flesh, to eat pig's flesh. But he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and became of his own accord to the torment. So it's saying that they opened his mouth, they put the bacon or the pork, piece of pork, whether it was a pork chop, bacon, ham, chitlins, pig feet, pig snoot, whatever pig is, whatever it was, this man would not eat it because of the law, because the Most High told him not, or told us not to do it. They didn't do it. But today, we walk around eating this stuff like it's fine. We walk around disobeying the Most High like it's fine. Let me keep going. I don't want to make this video too long. As it behooved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted. But they had the charge of the wicked feast for the old acquaintance that had with the men, taking him aside. I'm sorry, y'all. I keep reading slow because I'm thinking about getting to the next part. Like I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's see. Do I need to finish reading all this? Okay. Yeah. Let's keep going. Okay. But they that had a charge of that wicked feast for the old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, such as was lawful for him to use, and make as if he did eat of this the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king. So what they saying is they since this man Eleazar was a principal scribe of a well, and he was a well favored man, like people look up to him. They said, okay, the king said, bring me something that you can eat and eat it in front of the people as if you are eating this swine's flesh. That's what's going on right here. That in doing so he might be delivered from death and from an old friendship with them find favor. But he began to consider discreetly, and as become his age and the excellency of his ancient years and the honor of his gray head, whereon was come, and his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and given by God. Therefore he answered accordingly and willed them straightway to send him to the grave. So he said, nah, I ain't doing it. So y'all go ahead and kill me. That's what he told them. That's a man of Yah. That's a man of God. rather than eat a piece of bacon or deceive his people, he said, "Now y'all just kill me," because he know that there is nothing worse they can do to him that the Most High can't do worse. For if becoming not of our age, said he, in any wise to dissemble whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar being fourscore years old and 10, so he was 80, 90 years old, were now gone to strange religion. So he was 90 years old. A score is 20 years and 10, so he was 90. And so they thought mine hypocrisy and desired to live a little time and a moment longer should be deceived by me. And I get a stain to my old age and make it abominable. So he's saying that even though I was not going to eat this unclean, detestable swine's flesh, pork, he didn't want to look like a hypocrite just so he can live a little longer and deceive his people and get a stain. So he didn't want to look bad in front of his people. So he said he'd rather die than do that. For though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men, yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead. So this is it, verse 26. He said, for though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men. So he's saying that if I eat this, yeah, I'll live for a little longer and the men will not kill me, but the hand of the Almighty. This is so for people today thinking it's okay to eat whatever you want. This is the kind of God we serve. These Israelites were scared to disobey and they feared to disobey the Most High. The problem is we don't fear him, because if we did fear him, we wouldn't just be walking around eating the abominational foods that he told us not to eat. But there's a judgment for that. There is a judgment for that. I'm going to get there. Yet should I not say, okay, wherefore now, manfully changing this life, I will show myself such and one as my age requireth, and leaving a notable example to such as be young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment. They that led him changing the good will they bear him a little before into hatred, because the aforesaid speeches proceeded, as they thought, from a desperate mind. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto the Lord that hath the holy knowledge that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pain in my body by being beaten, but in my soul am well content to suffer these things because I fear him, him being Yahweh. And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation, which is Israel. Now, a recap of this chapter. They were trying to force this man into eating pork, to eat an abominable food that the Most High commanded us not to eat. He much rather had died than to eat a piece of bacon. Who today eat it like it's fine. Eat it like it's something clean. But I want to go to this next chapter. How much time I've been on here? Okay, 39 minutes. Family, just walk with me because it's a point that I'm trying to make. Let's go to 7. This is the chapter that I wanted to read. And this, I encourage y'all to read these 2 chapters because chapter 6 It was about the Pharisee. It was about a Pharisee and the example that he left to the younger men. And chapter 7 shows. I mean, it's very sad and it's graphic. And when I read this, I could not believe it. But I'm gonna read this to you. We can read it together. Read along with me, and let's. I'm gonna call this another round of Bible study because I want to get this out. Why? Okay, so this is Second Maccabees chapter 7 from the top. And it's only 42 verses. Okay, so it says, "It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mothers with their mother were taken." So one mother, and she had 7 sons, and they were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. So all 7 of these brothers were tormented with scourges and whips, and their mother, because they would not eat pork. But one of them that spake first said this: "What wouldest thou ask of or learn of us? We are ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers." Then the king, being enraged, commanded pans and caldrons. Sorry. Then the king, being enraged, commanded pans and caldrons to be made hot, which forthwith being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and to cut off the utmost part of his body. The rest of his they tortured this man, the oldest son, and to cut off the utmost part of his body, and the rest of the brethren and the mother looking on. So his 6 brothers and his mother is watching him get his tongue cut out, and watching them cut off the utmost. So I'm assuming they cut him at the waist, cut him in half, cut him in 2. Now, when he was thus maimed in all his members, oh no, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought. Okay, now when he was thus maimed in all his members, okay, so I'm guessing he cut off his arms and his legs. Okay, yeah, utmost parts of his body. Now, when he was thus maimed in all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire, and to be fried in the pan. And as the vapors of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying this: "The Lord God looked upon us, and in truth has comfort in us, as Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declared, saying, and he shall be in his servants, comforted in his servants." So when the first was dead, after this number, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his forehead with the hair, they asked him, "Wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of the body?" But he answered in his own language and said, "No." Wherefore he also received the next torment in order, as the former did. And when he was at the last gasp, he said, "Thou like a fury takest us out of this present life, but the King of the world shall raise us up, who have died for his laws unto everlasting life." This proves only Israelites will be raised up. The king that's doing this to them will not be raised up. And y'all, I know this is graphic, and if this is something that you can't stomach, just turn off this video, go to one of the other videos, and whenever you build up the courage, go ahead and finish reading this. But this was in the Holy Bible before the Protestants took it out. Okay, Let me read verse 9 again. And when he was at the last gasp, he said, Thou, like a fury, take takest us out of this present life. But the King of the world, which is Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, shall raise us up who have died for his laws unto everlasting life. So this young man will be raised up to everlasting life. After him, the third was made a mocking stock. And when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hands manfully. So he stuck. So when the third one got came up, he stuck his tongue out, and he stuck his two hands out. He stuck his arms out manfully, and said courageously, these I had from heaven, and for his laws I despised them, and from him I hope to receive them again. Insomuch that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for that he nothing regarded the pains. Now, when this man was dead, also they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. So it was seven boys and one mother. Just keep that in mind. Each each of the boys are watching the oldest one next to him get murdered right in front of them, and then the mother. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, It is good, being put to death by men, to look for hope from God to be raised up again by him. As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. As the king and the people that are doing this, they will have no. So the understanding that the Israelites had was they were only being resurrected at the second coming of Hamashiach. They were the only ones. Let's keep going. After they brought the fifth also and mangled him, then looked unto the king and said, Thou hast power over man, thou art corruptible. Thou doest thou what thou wilt, yet think not that our nation is forsaken of God, Israelites being forsaken of God. But abide a while, and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed. See, as it's written, Deuteronomy chapter 30, he is going to turn that captivity. He is a just God. He is going to flip it to this king and his seed. So everybody that came after him, his seed, they will be tormented forever. After him also they brought the sixth, who being ready to die said, Be not deceived without cause, for we suffer these things for ourselves, having sinned against our God. Therefore, marvelous things are done unto us. So this boy, the sixth boy, is saying that don't act like you're doing this because you wanted to. We sinned against our God. This is why this is happening to us. You ain't have nothing to do with this. You understand? This is what these boys. So this is what the Israelites, the Jews, went through in captivity. This is what they were going through. And let's read the next. Let's read the next verse. But think not thou that taketh in hand to strive against God, that thou shalt not escape unpunished. But the mother was marvelous above all, and worthy and of honorable memory. For when she saw her seven sons slain within the space of one day, she bare it with good courage, being of the hope that she had in the Lord. Yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. She said unto them, I cannot tell how ye came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you. But doubtless the creator of the world, who formed the generations of men, and formed out of the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as ye now regard not of your own selves for his law's sake. So these men, these boys, died for the laws of the Most High. And yet today we break them as if it does not matter because you think the laws are done away with. The law is everlasting. The law is eternal. Until heaven and earth pass, not one jot nor one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law. Let's keep going. Now Antiochus, thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, whilst the youngest was yet alive, did not. So 6 of her sons have already died. Did not only exhort him by words, but also assure him with oath that he would make him both a rich and happy man if he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friend and trust him in affairs. But when the young man would in no case hearken unto him, now this is the youngest son, the king called to his mother and exhorted her and said she would counsel the young man to save his life. And when he had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son. But she, bowing herself toward him, laughed, and laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn, spake in her own country. So she was speaking Hebrew language on this manner: O my son, have pity upon me, and bear thee upon me that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee suck 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee unto this age, and endured the troubles of education. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heavens and the earth, and all that is therein, and consider that God made them of the things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise. Fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with my brother, with thy brother. So she telling her son to be a man and take the death, that she may receive them again. While she yet speaking these words, the young man said, Whom wait ye for? I will not obey the king's commandments, but I will obey the commandments of the law that was given to our fathers by Moses. Israelites. The law was not given to nobody except the Israelites. And I'm telling you now, this is, oh man, this. See, every time I read this, I feel the spirit. I feel it, and see, this kind of stuff moves. It moves me. But I want to go ahead and get through it because it's just powerful. I think everybody needs to read this over and over and over again, and understand what's being said. 31. And thou that hast been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shall not escape the hand of God, for we suffer because of our sins. So he's telling you that these Greeks, they are not going to escape the hands of the Most High. They only going through this because of the sins. Now, they may have not eaten pork or any other detestable food, but there were other commandments that they broke. For sin is the transgression of the law. So they transgressed somewhere else. It may not have been from eating um, unclean foods, but because they won't do it now. They sinned somewhere else. Let's keep going. 33. And though the living Lord be angry with us for a little while, for our chastening and correction, yet shall he be at one again with his servants. But thou, O godless man, see, Yahweh, the God of the Bible, is only the God of the Israelites. He is not the God of the whole world, contrary to popular belief. It does not matter what they believe or what they want to say. The Bible speaks for itself. He is not the God of the Greeks or the Romans or the Ephesians or the Egyptians or the Edomites or the Elamites or the Cushites or the Jebusites or the Libyans. He is not the God of nobody except the Israelites. Let's keep going. Um, 34. But thou, O godless man, and of all the other, okay, hold on. But thou, O godless man, and of all other wicked, other most wicked, be not lifted up without a cause, nor puffed up for with uncertain hopes, lifting up thy hand against the servants of Yah. For thou hast not yet escaped the judgment of Almighty God, who seeth all things. For our brethren, who now have suffered a short pain, are dead under God's covenant of everlasting life. But thou, though the judgment of God shall receive just punishment for thy pride. But I, as my brethren, offered up my body and life for the laws of our fathers, beseeching God that he will speedily be merciful unto our nation, and that thou by torments and plagues mayest confess that he is God alone, and that in me and my brethren and wrath of the Almighty, which is justly brought upon our nation, may cease. That the king, being in a rage, handed him worse than all the rest, and took it grievously that he was mocked. So this man died undefiled, and put his whole trust in the Lord. Last of all, after the sons, the mother died. Let this be enough now to have spoken concern the idolatrous feast and the extreme tortures. So the mother and her 7 sons all died within one day, tormented because they would not eat pork, because they would not eat swine's flesh. Now, I want to show you what's going to happen. Isaiah 61. And this is a prophecy. So, and what is a prophecy? A prophecy is something that the Most High has spoken that has to come true. It has to happen. I'm sorry. Isaiah 66. Okay, let's find it. Okay, here it is. Start at 66 to 15. This has not happened yet. This is at the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, at his second coming. Start at 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire and with his fury. I'm sorry. For behold, the Lord will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. Which means the Yahweh is going to kill a lot of people. The slain of the Lord shall be many. Verse 17, they that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh and the abomination, which are shrimp, crab, lobsters, catfish, and the mouse, be all consumed together, saith the Lord, saith Yahweh. He hath spoken this. This is a prophecy that will come to pass at the second coming of the Most High. So if you think this a game, if you think he is playing, y'all seen, I mean, I'm pretty sure the whole Israelite community, whether you know it or not, have seen the movie Friday. When Craig was telling Smoke, you think he playing? You think he playing by this money? He know where your mama stay. He know where my mama stay. You say he had a gun when you seen him, but name one person in the hood that play like that. The Most High is not playing. Yahweh is not playing. When Yahweh speaks something, it will happen. It will happen. So everybody on the sound of my voice, you need to repent now, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. The Most High will plead with the. You know what? Let me get another translation. Let's see another translation. Let's see. Bibles. Okay, so the King James is what I read. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. The New King James. Okay, that's the same thing. The NLT. The Lord will punish the world by fire and with his sword. He will judge the earth, and many will be killed by him. The NIV. For with fire and with his sword, the Lord will execute judgment on all people, and many will be those slain by the Lord. ESV. For by fire will the Lord enter into judgment by his sword, and with all flesh, and those slain by the Lord shall be many. So it don't matter which translation you read, he is going to kill a lot of people. Let's see the wine press. Let's see that wine press. That's too many verses. Let's see if I can find it. I will assume it's in here. Isaiah. Let's see. Wine, find out. Okay, I'm not gonna hold y'all trying to find that because it's a lot of verses. I have to find that one, but it says his clothes. It's gonna look like it's gonna be dipped in blood. Okay, so that's gonna be Revelation 19, and it says. 19 and 13. Okay. Okay, it says, okay, so this is at the second coming, and I saw heaven open. It's Revelation 19 and 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doeth judge and make war. This is Hamashiach. This is the Messiah. This is who the world calls Christ. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and his head were and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but himself. and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of God. This is the Messiah. Why were his clothes dipped in blood? Because he did so much killing. He killed so many people. He was covered in blood. This is the God that you serve and our Lord and Savior that we serve. This is the Most High and the Son. This is the truth.